to call your attention to the center of our competition arena, where we present the founder of Split Rock Jumping Tour, Derek Braun, and of course, our favorite announcer, Brian Locaville. Derek and Brian, it's up to you.
Thanks, Adrian. Glad to be out here with you, center ring at the Sonoma Horse Park, and this is now our third year of running this event as part of the Split Rock Jumping Tour. Certainly among the most challenging we have ever dealt with, Derek. Coming into the weeks here, we originally were planning on a bonus week. Obviously, there were some issues in the area that we weren't expecting whatsoever, but the fire sort of made that not necessarily possible. But you've overcome some challenges nonetheless to hold this the original week. Tell us a little bit about the difficulties of that and maybe how we're overcoming them and what we've got on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've had definitely some new difficulties this year. As a management group, we've had to brainstorm a lot of new ideas coming into this week. Obviously, like you said, last week was canceled due to the fires and the smoke in the region. And honestly, that was still threatened this week with the smoke and the fires. The fires are obviously not, they're not anywhere close to here, but they were doing some back burning in the area, trying to contain those fires. So we had some smoke Monday and Tuesday. But luckily, as you can see, it's crystal clear blue skies right now. The air quality is great, and we're moving on forward with the week. We had to cancel our FEI events for the week, but we have a great American Standard National Grand Prix here today and a $50,000 National Standard Grand Prix on Sunday as well.
And obviously the numbers have been building ever since our first day. We started on Wednesday, somewhat lighter numbers there on Wednesday. We got a few more yesterday. Today, this is a pretty good number to have in a welcome Grand Prix level event. I mean, we've got 38 that'll actually compete here for that $25,000 in prize money. So that in itself is a testament to the interest in showing, but people have had to be really cautious this year for many different reasons, including the ones you just discussed. Nice to see, though, they're coming through and they're realizing, as you said, that the air is beautiful. We got just a nice breeze out here. It's getting a little bit hotter than it was yesterday, but that's just fine. Cool, clean air out here at Sonoma at the Horse Park, and we're looking forward to another great competition. Now, as we're getting into the fall of the 2020 season, we have some new events coming up as well this year. So let's first focus on those. What do we have coming up after Sonoma wraps?
Yeah, absolutely. We added a second week to our Columbus International show. So we have 2 weeks in Columbus in 2 weeks' time, which we're really looking forward to those weeks. We have a brand new format show there in Columbus with some great prize money, huge national prize money, and huge Grand Prix prize money as well for that event, both CSI 2-stars. Then we have a brand new event in Aiken, South Carolina, which we're so looking forward to at Bruce's Field. So we've had some extremely great support on entries there in Aiken. So that looks to be probably our biggest event of the year to finish it out. Unfortunately, the Fort Worth International, which was intended to be the week before Christmas in Fort Worth, Texas, is going to have to be pushed till next year. But we're looking forward to that for next year.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to those upcoming events. And one in particular, Aiken, I mean, that's an area that I'm very familiar with. Grew up there, went to high school there, ran a bunch of horse shows of our own back that way. That's sort of where I got my start, so I'm looking forward to that. And I know there'll be an incredibly supportive group of riders, not only from the Aiken area, but many who are making their way south and are probably going to make Aiken a stop on their way down, possibly to their Florida winter circuits or wherever else they may be going. So I've definitely am looking forward to that. On the horizon for 2021, anything new that we want to talk about at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, download our Split Rock Jumping Tour app. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for all of our live updates throughout the rest of the fall season. We're going to be making some huge announcements for 2021 coming up. We do not have any of that stuff solidified at the moment because we're still well into the 2020 season. However, I can tell everybody that I believe that we will have some major new updates for 2021, brand new events coming for 2021, and we're also going to be offering a lot of new things at our events. So hopefully we're going to be allowing some more quantity entries at some of our events, potentially some hunters at some of our events as well in a really, really special and different way. So everybody look out for those updates. We're really excited for our 2021 season because it's going to be by far our biggest.
I was going to try to put a little teaser out there about the hunters, but you beat me to it. So we're looking forward to seeing what the Split Rock idea of hunter competition is going to be, hopefully when we get into that 2021 season. But now we're going to refocus back on today, and right here in the main arena at the Split Rock Jumping Tour, Sonoma International. And let's just quickly talk about the course that's been designed here by Guillermo George before we get to that first horse.
Yeah, and Guillermo has been presented with a whole new set of challenges in building this new format for this show, because he came out here expecting a really huge field in FEI competition, but now we've downgraded to a national Grand Prix competition. So the specs are slightly different for it. So we're at American standard here today. He's built an absolutely perfect track, I think, at 140, 145 in height. It starts over here with the sponsored Horseflight Oxer going away from the judges right by the scoreboard. Left-hand turn to the sponsored Restylane vertical at number 2, a little bit up in 4 strides to 3, and then I think just nice and 7 to the Restylane vertical at number 4. Probably everybody's gonna have to think time here to number 5, the triple bar oxer going away from the camera. I like a little direct in probably 8 strides to the brown combination going across the ring. Left-hand turn to the sponsored Alamend Oxer by the in-gate. This is, again, another little option. If people are thinking time a little bit too much, they might go a little direct in 7. Probably most people will just be nice wide in 8 strides there to the colorful, different colored oxer heading right towards us. Then here to the triple combination, again, another little bit of a technical line. Definitely an option. It's vertical, vertical coming in, so it is very delicate, very careful, and I think that might be an option in 6 or 7 strides to the triple combination. Right-hand turn to probably the most delicate jump on course, the Liverpool Tray Oxer with those what we call Mafia blue and white poles at the wave jump. Right-hand turn to this green is the new blue, skinny vertical across the center, and finishing off with the Split Rock Jumping Tour Oxer. I'd say probably the most difficult part of the course is definitely the end, heading to the triple combination in that option line, and then the last 3 jumps are probably the most careful, delicate jumps on course. So.
All right, well, we're looking forward to seeing how that turns out. If you had a chance to look down through the list, would you be able to give us your guess as to the number of clears?
Guillermo and I, before this conversation, spoke a little bit. My guess would be 12.
All right, so 12 out of 38. That'll give us a nice jump off there, and we'll be looking forward to where they put the pedal to the metal in round 2. Derek, I'll let you get back to a lot of work that you have going on outside of the arena at this point, and we're getting closer and closer, just over 5 minutes away from the top of the order here in our 3:30 start for this Hyaluronics $25,000 Prix.
Hey, Brian, thank you very much. And Derek, while we've got you out there, thank you so much for your vision. The Split Rock Jumping Tour, absolutely revolutionizing the show jumping industry. So again, Derek, to you and your family at Split Rock, thank you again. Good news from the back 8, top of the order, very close to being ready to go. As Brian said, we're probably just about 4 minutes from the top of the order. We invite everybody to sit back and enjoy a beautiful afternoon here at Sonoma Horse Park. And of course, our $25,000 Hyaluronics National Prix.
Whenever.
And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we call your attention once again to our competition arena. We're pleased to have with us Mr. Brian Locabill with our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise. Gentlemen, remove cover. Again, Brian Locabill with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Locabill. Brian, thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our horses have had their kisses and well wishes. It is time for show jumping.
Cool. Adrian, if you want to go over the... I guess we've already done scoring, haven't we?
Once again, top of the order, approaching the in-gate as we speak. Quick reminder, we are table two-way. We're going to see everybody in round one.
I think I have an order to go for you.
What's this? What's this?
I don't know. Hey, I'm going to leave this here with you.
Gold, actually stack of gold together for a few years. They started their season as our riders did down at the Thermal Series. They had some test drive a bit later up in Temecula, and we're very pleased to have them here at Great Rock, Sonoma. Without further ado, here we go. Stack of gold.
Crap.
As always, next thing.
I thought I had an extra.
I don't need it.
Hey, can we get that flag corrected of Great Britain? I'm not sure where that came from. It's probably, I'm sure it was on the sheet somewhere. But he's Great Britain, not USA.
All right, glad to be with you here, folks. Brian Lookable, Derek Braun, now for our streaming broadcast coverage. Our first rider of the class here today will be Max Dolger and Staka Gold. Max began the season here at the Thermal Desert Circuit, came out of the break more recently to compete in the Temecula Valley Summer Series, and back again here with the 10-year-old bay Oldenburg gelding by Staccato. Derek, we're watching our first one here already well into the course, about midway through here and rounding the bend over that combination. So far, I believe penalty-free for Max.
Yeah, and this looks like a little bit of a slow-moving horse across the ground, so Max is having to turn a little bit tighter to everywhere, and that cost him at jump number 7, the Almond Oxer. He just turned a little neat through the turn and just got a little bit too deep. When I say deep, I mean just a little bit too close to the front pole, not giving his horse quite enough space to come off the ground and leave the jump up.
So at this point, working on a 4-fault penalty. Another one coming down there at the green is the new blue vertical as we approach now the final fence on the course. And you did say during the preview of the course that the turns between those last couple of jumps were going to be a little bit of a challenge. Time also was potentially going to come into play here. He ends up in 79.165. And 81 seconds our time allowed. So that wasn't a problem for him. But he does end up with the 8-fault result there. Second entry coming in now. U.S. rider is Jamie Barge. This is a horse for Jamie that placed also in Thermal this winter. A lot of the riders we're seeing today, of course, are going to have started their year at the Thermal Desert Circuit, which seems like so long ago, taking into account how much we've been dealing with over the course of this year. More recently, right here in Sonoma, she's been a regular competitor, had ribbons in the Giant Steps Grand Prix with Luebo. But perhaps more importantly, Luebo is actually a horse that she's shown extensively throughout Europe. She actually has been a rider in Nations Cup starts for the U.S. on a limited basis since 2017. She's had experience in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, and throughout Europe.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, she's competed at World Cup finals with this horse as well, and so lots of experience, a really seasoned partnership. Here you can see her really attack the track with rhythm and energy to start, and this is a combination that really knows each other well, so she can anticipate the horse's strengths and everything like that. So there you see her do 9 strides to the combination. She chose to go out a little bit and take a little extra time. But a little bit different to the first horse that we saw. This horse moves very quick across the ground. So she's not going to necessarily have too much trouble with the time allowed. Again, the same jump down that Max had, the first horse, because, again, they're thinking time allowed, thinking go quick, and they're just rushing it there right by the in gate, rushing that front pole.
And yeah, the time allowed doesn't necessarily really need to be a weapon. It doesn't need to be so tight that you just absolutely have to run at it, but you want them to have to think about it throughout the course.
Yeah, and there again to the Liverpool Oxer to finish the track at jump number 10. Again, she just got slightly too close to the front pole, and it cost her with another rail down for 8 faults.
8-fault finish there in 77.315. A couple of years ago in the 2B competitions, they changed it up so that if you had a tie among penalties, there would be no need for a jump off. But here in the 2A events, we still have that jump off if there's a tie for first. And as of now, obviously, we're early in the course, so it's not likely to remain that way, but that's the way they'll be right now. 4 faults in 77.135, so a little faster than Max Dolger. Third entry showing now, 196. Tally de Jong has a couple showing here today. Valiant de Bellevue is the first of those, an 11-year-old Anglo-Arab gelding by Colin Duplessis. Tally's had a couple of North American Young Rider Championship starts, I should say, back in 2017 and 2018. So far this year, she's placed in 4 Grand Prix level events from Thermal to Colorado, and also has earned some ribbons in the open jumper ranks and in the junior amateurs. Valiant de Bellevue is her first. Tally de Jong rides.
And here she's really kind of taking her time to the second jump, so I think later on in the track she's going to need to think about time allowed a little bit. This horse has a great natural rhythm, great, really big canter, really lofty jump, making the first part of this track seem effortless. Really great rhythm to the triple bar. Ten strides there to the combination. And that's one of those lines there, Brian, that I don't necessarily think that many of the riders might not have even walked that line there to the brown combination. So you hear me counting 10 strides, but they might be just doing it off their eye. Again, the same exact issue as the first 2 riders on course. They rushed the turn thinking time allowed to the Element Oxer, and it ended up costing them having the front pole down.
We'll see how much that would actually have been a concern as they're rounding the bend to the final 2 jumps with just about 11 seconds to spare, but could be a little close here. Back around to the left to jump the Split Rock Oxer, and I think they are going to have trouble on the clock. So fitting that she did take that time into account as she posted 82.281 time.
Yeah, and that's one of those instances right from the get-go. You know, her horse jumps really lofty and high, even though he's a little bit strong and in her hand throughout the whole course. She just chose to go a little bit too wide everywhere, and that cost her those few seconds.
Couple of knockdown, or a knockdown and a couple of ticks over the time. So 6 the total here for Tally de Jong as we move along now to 462. And this is a Misty Cassar ride. It's Viking de l'Homme coming up next.
You know, it's really interesting that, you know, how the time allowed plays such a factor because every horse is different, every rider is different. It's amazing how if you shave the turns just a little bit, it's like a race car. If you shave the turns just a little bit, you don't necessarily have to go faster in order to make the time allowed. But if you're going wider around the turns, you obviously have to pick up the rhythm. And you have to know your horse. You have to know your horse's stride. You have to know your horse's rhythm. And that always plays a factor. So it's like an internal clock.
You know, funny enough, there's an old story from Frank Chapeau years and years back. Obviously, he's no longer with us, but when he went overseas for the first time and had his first ever speed competition, he hadn't seen a competition under that exact format before, and they said, all you really got to do is go start to finish as quickly as you can in this one round. So he did. The next guy came in. He really thought he was blazing fast. Frank used to ride timber races, so he wasn't afraid of anything. But he got start to finish as quickly as he could. The next guy came in. He was feeling pretty proud of himself until he blew him away by several seconds. And somebody said to him, yeah, you can go fast, but it's really more in the turns than anything. So, yeah, you're right, absolutely. One of the masters of all time has pointed that out. Tight turns make a huge difference. It's not sometimes the pace itself, but the turns. And there in that one turn to the second to last jump, of course, they pulled the rail.
Yeah, and Misty was jumping an absolutely great smooth round all the way around to those last 3 jumps. She jumped the Liverpool Oxer at number 10 great, and again, the angle on the green is the new blue skinny vertical there, especially with the anticipation of coming home and finishing off, I think is really going to catch a few riders.
What you may want to do, and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, is you might be tempted to sort of bend out a little bit further to line that jump up, but you don't want to do that to the detriment of your time.
Well, and you have to play into the strengths of your horses. You know, if you trust that your horse is necessarily careful enough to take a little bit of chance and create a little bit more of an angle there, you might be able to get away with it. But if you think that you have the time to spare, then I would take a little bit more of a breath and get straight to it.
All right, so with that, we move along now to number 46, or 43, excuse me. This is a Colexio VDL, and Kendall Bourgeois just breaking into the Grand Prix ranks after competing through the year in the Open Jumpers. They have shown in Thermal, Traverse City, the Oregon High Desert Series, and here in Sonoma so far this year. This is an 8-year-old gelding, a Belgian warm blood by Cardento.
And Kendall already is really kind of attacking this first part of the course. She really cantered with rhythm to the first jump, the Horseflight Oxer, and she hasn't really let up. So I'd say for time allowed, she's spot on. And I think she knows that this jump has played a little bit of the bogey jump right here by the in-gate. So she really took a little extra time than all the other riders today, and it kind of paid off for her.
Paid off for her in the clear jump, but if you look at the clock there, that's about the midway point of the course. It could potentially have create a problem on the clock. Of course, the back rail of the Oxer there in the triple combination is down now, so.
Yeah, and there it just seemed like coming out of it, she jumped great into the triple combination, A and B, and then she just needed to add a little bit more support by just hugging the horse's side with her legs to just encourage him to jump a little further across.
She did choose a little bit of that wider berth to the green is the new blue vertical coming home. Oh, rocks that rail at the top of the split rock Oxer, but man, she goes just under the wire. 80.611 for Kendall.
And I think she made it up, like you said. She began to come a little slow following the triple combination, and then she, just like we were talking about earlier, Brian, about that second to last jump, the green is the new blue skinny vertical. She really sliced that vertical, and she made up the time there coming to the last jump. So I think her plan was right, and she just needed to press across sea of the triple combination a little bit more. Otherwise, she would have been clear.
We've got McKenna Norris coming up next. She'll be here with a 13-year-old Chestnut Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Armitage. This is Cosmo Boy. No clears just yet. We'll see whether or not they can give us the good to go round here. Unlike the winning round competition that we just wrapped up, this one will not go to a jump off unless we have a tie for first place. And already the Restylane vertical coming down there on the diagonal line at fence number 2. .38 starters showing here today. Misty Cassar has the fastest 4-fall time, but unless we see a score better than 4, we would need a jump off to break that tie among 4 falters. Still lots more to go. Chances are that is going to happen. We'll see a better score than 4. I have a good feeling we'll have several clears to get into the jump off. Coming around, first of 2 jumps remaining. Already with the knockdown here. McKenna and Cosmo Boy with time to spare. 78.672. The early rail there at the Restylane vertical was the trouble fence, and that means they have a 4-fault score. They go right now, based on faults and time, into second place.
And there, you know, it really seems like Guillerme's hit it spot on the time allowed, because I don't think it's unattainable at all. I mean, I think in a normal circumstance Grand Prix, you keep the right proper rhythm, you'll be within the time allowed. If you take a little bit too much time, you're going to be just over. And having to push that little bit harder just to make the time allowed might force everybody to incur a couple faults here and there.
Well, though we are running under national guidelines at this point here at the Sonoma International, we do still have an international group of competitors. This rider, Shota Ogamori, will have 2 entries in the class here today and represents Japan. He's here aboard Ironman, the 16-year-old bay, Royal Dutch Warm Blood, gelding by Van Cantos. And his trouble comes a fence later already. The Polo Mallet Oxer down at fence number 3.
Yeah, the horse kind of jumped the first jump a little bit like he jumped the Polo Mallet Oxer. He was just a little bit at the jump, a little bit quick, a little bit too quick off the ground and flat. So I thought that might catch up with him a little bit, but now he's jumping a nice round after that. And again, there, just a little bit too forward and too close to the jump, too deep at the Alamand Oxer.
He's been a team silver medalist at the Asian Games. Again, representing Japan. Extensive experience all over the world in the show jumping sport from throughout Europe, here in the United States. Of course, in his native country as well.
Gets away with a good rub at the second to last jump and nice over the last. Finishes with 3 down.
Ends up with a 12-fault score there again. That is Sig Ironman and Shota Ogamori.
We'll continue on now with round 1 of our $25,000 Ironics National Prix. Very, very special team to get introduced to you now. Of course, here at Sonoma Horse Park.
Onward now to a rider for Great Britain. It's a Patrick Seaton ride now with Scipio K. 16-year-old Zangerside gelding by Talibé K.
And in July of this year, just a couple of months ago, winners of the $30,000 high game fee Grand Prix. Patrick Seaton and Scipio K.
So a rider here again for Great Britain. As Adrian mentioned here, he's already had some wins in Sonoma this season right here.
And it's great to see Patrick come back to this show and compete in these classes. Originally, at the beginning of the week, he actually wasn't entered in the week, but since we downgraded it to a national Grand Prix, he was able to come compete, so it's great to see him here.
Fence 3 strikes again.
It really gets, I mean, that was really a late fall. The pole actually kind of swayed in the cups a little bit and fell about a few seconds late, so that's unfortunate. Just barely touched it. And now he's thinking time allowed. You could see already at the that combination, his eyes were on jump number 7. There he opts for 6 strides and definitely pays for it a little bit with getting there a little bit too flat and too quick at A. The combination has that down as well. And there you see him really just regroup a little bit. He just wants to finish the track really confident and controlled and really prepared so he can prepare his horse for Sunday.
All right, the finish line comes in 81.958. Ends up with a 12-fault score on the course here. So he ends up with 1 on the clock as well. That means 13 total here for a rider from Great Britain. As you mentioned, you got to look at the silver lining sometimes, and when you have the knockdowns and you don't feel like you're going to necessarily be in contention for a ribbon, at least you can have the experience to take you through to the big event on Sunday. And up next, Alessandra Volpe. She's here aboard Taiwan Delunde. She's got several entries showing in the class today. In fact, this is one of 3 she had listed. It's, in fact, one of her mounts with extensive starts in Europe and the Middle East before Alessandra took on the ride. This season was her mount at the Deer Ridge Series in Wellington, Florida. Had an individual win and a second-place finish in the team young rider events.
Here she comes with a lot of rhythm to the first jump and gets away with a little bit of a rub at the front pole.
Alessandra Volpe, several years back, or actually last year, I should say, part of the North American Young Rider Championship silver medal team.
Really good so far. You can see her really taking her time to jump number 7.
She seems to be on an acceptable pace to get there within the time.
You can tell this horse is really careful. Coming in a little hot to the triple combination, but jumping it with no problem. I think she's well within the time allowed.
Oh no, second to last fence down there.
And that's one of those areas where when you know your horse is quick across ground, you can see her. She's well within the time allowed, 5 or 6 seconds underneath the time allowed. I think those last 3 jumps are really strategically placed by Guilherme because, again, you've jumped the entire track. You've kind of spent your horse. You spent your energy a little bit. You kind of have to take a deep breath, regroup, and give yourself a little bit more time at that skinny vertical across the center because it's really delicate.
Yeah, and she would have had the time to use for that purpose, of course. Unfortunately, she does pull the rail for a 4-fault result. But as of right now, she will stand in the lead actually based on the time, although that time's not really going to matter unless we see a score better than 4 faults. As of now, the 4 faulters are tied for first place. Caitlin Campbell, already a winner this week. Coming up next, she'll ride Feon. Bit of a change in the order here with Caitlin stepping up to show the 10-year-old bay Dutch Wormle Gelding by Zizou R. She had a win yesterday aboard Quechua de Sud, a fairly new mount to her. We've seen her with victories here in the past. She's also, of course, been pretty successful back on the East Coast when she used to show there. She spent the last several years out here in California. We discussed yesterday, she continues relationships with the Sweetenham family back east. They tend to send horses her way because of her talent.
Ooh, and there she's jumping a great round, and something caught the horse's eye after she jumped into the combination, and he shifted so hard right.
She couldn't keep it in line, yeah.
Yeah, he must have caught his eye on something else and got a little bit confused there. Let's see what happens when she comes around again. That really came out of nowhere because, as you can see, as she came back around, he had absolutely no problem with it. So it just might have been a little bit of a confusion. He's really jumping a nice round. Horse has a really good rhythm. Really big canter. She opts for 7 strides coming into the triple combination just so she can keep it collected. Now, obviously, she's not focusing on getting a ribbon. She's just focusing on finishing the track with confidence so she knows she can come back on Sunday and have success. So.
And if you know Caitlin, you know that somewhere inside she's a little bit irritated about that, but she's got to look to the future. And as you said, the Sunday class. 100.851 is the resulting time after that refusal. The refusal itself, of course, will cost 4 faults.
And there you see Caitlin petting the horse. I think it was just an honest confusion there. Nobody's particular fault. It's just one of those things where it wasn't their day, but honestly, all in all, they jumped a really nice round.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for that, she was the first one that left all the jumps up. Ended up with 20 on the clock in the 4 jumping as well. Carrie Roofer's with us. The first year we came to the Sonoma stop here on the Split Rock Jumping Tour, she was a winner back in 2018. taking a victory in our Grand Prix main event with Mai Tai 2. Of course, she's had a lot of wins here on the West Coast over the course of the past 6 seasons. And every time we come here to Sonoma, she continues to be among the top contestants, earning top 3 placings in a lot of our Grand Prix here.
Yeah, this show is kind of in her backyard. She's from nearby in Sacramento, and she's had a ton of success here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour Sonoma leg, winning one of our Grand Prix, placing second in another, third in another. So definitely one of her favorite venues, I would say, if results are an indicator of that.
And indeed they are, with Vertige de Garzax. She's making her way around so far clear. The Morningstar Sport Horses group, including Carrie and Mark Kinsella, have had a pretty good week. They've actually been in the ribbons a couple times, with Mark actually taken 2 wins already this week, and that's a fairly new partnership there between Carrie and Mark. But they've already seen some success, and she's already on her way to what could be our first clear round of the day. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
She actually has the polo mallet oxer down, so she's sitting on 4 faults.
All right, well, a little overly optimistic there. That came early in the course while I was still talking about her past wins.
Finishing with a really nice round.
All right, there we go. With 80.484, at least she'll avoid the time faults. 4 jumping coming for that knockdown at fence number 3. Carrie's got another one coming up later on here. So we'll wish her good luck on that one. And we will continue on now to a Kyle King ride. I haven't had the occasion to see Kyle compete recently, as he's mostly out here on the West Coast. We do most of our events back east, but I know Kyle's always a go-getter as well. Nice to see him now with Magic Mike, the 11-year-old Dutch Warmblood, gelding by Zapatero VDL.
It's great to see Kyle come all the way down for this event, even knowing that there was some risk in the event not going on because of all the smoke in the area and the pandemic of COVID-19. He still found his way here, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, indeed. He's another rider who has been competing this season. Started off the tour in Thermal, California. Lots of people, of course, basically with not a lot of opportunities to show based on what's been going on, not just here, but obviously around the world. And obviously all of that compounded by the fact that we had the fires here, but it's nice that he chose, as you said, to persevere, come on out anyway, and hopefully it turns out good for him.
And Kyle's one of those riders that you can never count him out. I mean, he's so hungry and competitive all the time, so I'd say he's definitely one of the favorites for today. I hope he doesn't blame that on me if something goes wrong.
Oh, jeez.
As I was saying.
You said that at the absolute wrong time. He had already been a little bit lucky there at the multicolored oxer going into that triple combination with a rub on the top, but luck ran out a little bit on the C element.
And you see him really slice the skinny vertical coming to the last. Horse jumped a really nice round. Well within the time allowed. Time of 75.948.
Wow. Yeah, we've got ties still for first place. I sort of played down the potential of having a 4-fault jump off, but as we keep on going here, it becomes more possible. Though, again, we still have a lot to show.
I'm not so sure that I think that that's possible. Obviously, anything's possible, but I think that we're going to see plenty of clear rounds here soon. Once all the riders get a feel for how the track is really riding.
Yeah, we're sort of already witnessing that early on. I think some of the troubles came earlier on in the course. Fence 7 for the first 3 competitors was the problem. Then they figured that out, and it became sort of this line 2 and 3. The faults are starting to get later on in the course. We've already gotten real close to having a clear, so for sure it's a high likelihood that's going to happen on several occasions today. Now we've got Sabine Cooper coming in next. Here with Caillou, number 256.
And it's one of those things where the triple combination is always sort of, I don't want to say a bogey portion of all the courses, the course designer set, but it's definitely one of the most difficult obstacles of the course. Obviously, it's 3 jumps in a row within 1 or 2 strides of each other. So combining that with the delicateness of the last 3 jumps, I think that that's definitely where all the rails are going to fall today. Not all of them, but most of them. And I think most of these riders just have to keep their composure at the end.
No time to really make a whole lot of corrective action in a combination, particularly in a triple combination. Once you recover from the first jump, you're right to the second one, so not a whole lot of time for correction.
And there, Sabine just got a little too close to the end of the combination. She got a little too deep again to number 7 at the Allemande Oxer. There, just coming off the ground, she just needs to give her horse just slightly more room, just have a little bit more feel of his face, so his trajectory can jump back up to her off that front pole over a little bit. And I think she's going to be close to the time allowed as well, just over.
Lucky on the last jump there with the Rebel in the front, but it does stay in the cup, so she'll finish up at 82.479. A little bad news there as she scores 2 on the clock. All told with the knockdowns and the time, 18 faults the result now. Derek Chang comes to us next. U.S. rider coming in now with Chappie, number 215. Chappie, a Dutch warmblood gelding by Clinton.
I really like Derek's name.
At least he's got that going for him.
And he's really attacking the first part of this course. If he keeps this rhythm, he's going to be fine on time. Horse making a huge effort over the triple bar oxer. And just a little information for everybody watching at home, the triple bar oxer is the widest jump on course because it goes from lower to higher from the front pole to the back. Sometimes if you canter down to the triple bar oxer with a lot of rhythm, get right to the base, close to the jump, the horses can give a really nice effort over that.
Giving it a nice ride here today.
And here you can see he's really working for every inch. He's really supporting the horse where he needs to, cantering in rhythm where he needs to for the time allowed, but also not rushing the jump. Really careful over the second to last skinny.
Can he get there?
I think so.
Yes, that's what we were looking for. Nice job by Derek Chang. Faultless finish. And look at the time, man. There was no problem on that. You said he was attacking the course. It shows up at the finish line with the first clear in 74.605. Nice job by, again, the Dutch warmblood Mount Chappie and rider Derek Chang.
And it's great to see the Restylane replay here at the Liverpool Oxer. Great effort from start to finish.
Already a trouble here for Ashley Bewick and Lynn Tina as they pull the first obstacle on the course. Lynn Tina is that 12-year-old Holsteiner mare.
And there, I think that was just a case of being a little bit asleep to the first jump. I don't think she quite had the rhythm she wanted to start. She needed a little bit more energy, a little bit more rhythm, and just like Derek did right from the start, she really attacked the course. And there she just seemed a little bit timid heading to the first jump, and it cost her. But now she's kicking it into gear and finishing the rest of the track really well.
Actually competing out of the amateur ranks this season, having thermal placings as well as some in Show Park and here in Sonoma, the junior and amateur classics.
And there you can see again that Allemande Oxer posing a little bit of a problem off that short turn, just getting a little bit too deep, coming at the front pole. She's really taking her time to the Liverpool Oxer there. I thought coming around that turn, she definitely was taking her time. There might have been one less stride out of that turn.
Well, kind of tough going there this afternoon for Ashley Lewicki and Tina. We had 5 rails coming down.
Rails throughout the course there give us a 20 jumping fault score. Add to that the 3 on the clock, so 23 is the total for Ashley.
Thank you, Lauren. Lauren is joining us now. Lauren also represented the United States.
And as you can see with the Restylane replay here coming to the 4th jump, having that down. Colorful Oxer coming away from the in-gate, heading towards the triple combination.
Lauren Myers is in. Lauren here with Willow, number 205. 9-year-old bay Dutch warm blood mare by Venkwer. The Oxer down at the, as you mentioned, delicate triple combination, as well as the following fence number 10, that Blue Wave Oxer.
And a lot of times the course designers will use this welcome class, meaning the first Grand Prix of the week before the Sunday Grand Prix, to kind of experiment with materials on the courses, so just to get a feel for the riders, get a feel for the horses, to see what they need to build for Sunday. I was talking a little bit to Guilherme before the class started, and he reiterated to me that he used what we call some of the yellow cups on the top pole, which are a little bit more delicate. So he chose to not necessarily build the jumps as big as he possibly could, but also keep them very careful. So the rails might fall throughout the course a little easier, but without causing too much of a strain.
Bell rings for already a 2-time winner this week. This is Ireland's Mark Kinsella. As I mentioned earlier, a new part of the partnership from Morningstar Sport Horses, along with Kerry Roofer, who we saw earlier on. Mark with the 2 open jumper wins already this season. He showed throughout the winter in Wellington, Winter Equestrian Festival, then made his way out here to the west.
And I know Mark and Kerry really think really highly of this horse. 9 years old. A lot of experience. Jumped really well at the Winter Equestrian Festival in Florida this season with Mark. A lot of great results. This horse is a really big canner. Looks like it has a lot of blood. When I say blood, it means a lot of energy and enthusiasm.
Some ribbons in the Grand Prix and the open jumpers there at the Winter Equestrian Festival, and as all of us know, that's about the most competitive circuit that happens in the United States, so there's a lot to be said for that in Stern de Filetti.
But again, a lot of these horses haven't competed since then many times, so a lot of them can be a little rusty, a little off their game, so this is great. This is a great event now this week to get back into the rhythm and before the whole fall circuit. Because I know on the West Coast there's a lot of really nice shows here in the fall for these horses to step up. There, he made it look easy.
All right, Derek Chang is not going to be alone at the top now as Mark Kinsella on a great roll. Stern DiFerletti, as was the case during the winter season, comes out of the break to show nicely here to a clear and give us a jump-off reason. We've got a tie for first, and the second round is going to be that tiebreaker. So now we've got to see how many more can get into the jump-off. We'll see whether one of our junior riders can do it, Zoe Brown. And the 13-year-old gray Holsteiner gelding, Chase. This one by Coleman. Zoe's 15 years old. She's had regular wins in the Junior Hunters, the big equitation events, the Junior Amateur Classics, and also several under-25 classics since she started in Thermal this season. Also placed in several Grand Prix there in the Desert Circuit. Won a welcome in Sonoma here last month.
And there you see our horse making a huge effort over the Horseflight Oxer at jump number 1, really extending his back legs, ensuring that he doesn't come close to touching it. And unfortunately there, it looked like his hind end slightly overpowering his front end, causing her to get a little close at jump number 3 and having the front pole down. And sometimes that has a little bit to do with balance. You know, when the rider kind of really stretches up and holds the front end a little bit harder, they can compensate for that a little bit. And I think there you see her really making that adjustment. And there you saw her lose her balance just a little bit over that Oxer as well. Just because the horse is making such a big effort with the hind legs and forcing her a little bit forward. But again, these classes are great experience for these young riders. You know, she's only 15 years of age. I'm sure she's going to jump on Sunday as well, and she's going to learn from today all the way to Sunday, and I'm sure her performance will improve.
And again, she is just a 15-year-old junior rider, and though she's got a lot of experience and wins in the junior ranks, she's still got a lot of years ahead of her as well. Rails down at several locations here for Chase and Zoe Brown. Score herself a total of 20 faults at 79 and change. Opening day, we had Matias Fernandez up on the winner's platform. He took a victory on Wednesday. He rides for Chile. Matias Fernandez is here today aboard New York 18. Once again, it's New York 18, the mount here for Matias Fernandez, a 9-year-old bay Holsteiner mare.
Matias is based here at the Sonoma Horse Park, so he's really familiar with the facility, with the arenas and everything like that, so I'm sure his horses feel extremely comfortable here. I don't know that I would call it necessarily an advantage, but this is a beautiful facility right outside Petaluma, California, where a lot of people have the opportunity to board and stay here throughout the year as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting sort of an opportunity that you don't see as much back east, I don't think, but a couple locations out here have that chance. But unfortunately, already we've got the rails down here for Matias Fernandez. Rails at 2 locations, 8 faults. The score time of 80.707 means he narrowly averts the time faults. Looking at the standings right now, we've got Derek Chang and Mark Kinsella leading the way. They're tied for first place. Based on the faults in time, Alessandro Volpi in third right now, with Kyle King, Magic Mike in fourth, Misty Cassar in fifth, and McKenna Norris in sixth. Cooper coming in next. This is a Simone Berg ride, a 13-year-old Dutch warm blood, gelding by Viento Uno W. Representative of the North American Young Rider Championships back in 2014. Simone placed with Cooper, as well as another horse, Capriccio, and the Cantare during her Thermal and Sonoma starts in the junior and amateur welcome and Grand Prix events so far this season.
And there you saw Simone really kind of what we call half halt the horse in front of the number 3 Oxer there. Even though she had it down, she kind of really anticipated that her horse was getting a little bit too strong there. So she tried to make up for it, but it was just a little bit too late. He was just a little bit too aggressive and a little bit too at the front pole. Jumping a nice smooth round. After that, coming in with 6 strides to the triple combination. And unfortunately, that probably wasn't the best option for that horse because he's really aggressive at the jump anyway, and that's a really short combination, 1 stride to 1 stride. So here she needs to really reel it in a little bit coming home.
But the horse has already got other ideas. We've got the total then coming up with, I believe it's a 12 fault finish there for Simone and Cooper. 12 faults, 80.233. Second ride coming up now for Tally DeJong. Here's the 8-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare by Van Gogh. It's Heavenly Star. Oh, pardon me. Looks like a Patrick Seaton ride coming in next. His second ride actually is now in. This is Veronica, number 469. And again, it's that fence 3 down there. The Polo Mallet Oxer, the Restylane vertical follows, also coming down. Mentioned earlier, Patrick's had some success with wins here in not only Grand Prix but also welcome classes in Sonoma. So he's quite familiar with the horse park here. Things not working out so far today. Operating on 12 faults so far. And wide turn back to the Split Rock Oxer here to finish things out. I think he's going to get just under the wire at the finish line in 80.926. Yes, just barely within. And he'll score a total of 20 faults, actually. Now, for Tally DeJong's second ride, 197 again, the 8-year-old World Dutch Warm Blood mare by Van Gogh. Here's Heavenly Star.
Nice opportunity for a young horse, an 8-year-old, stepping up to this level. Get really valuable experience.
And a young rider as well who has already seen this course one time and now has a chance to come back and maybe improve on the previous effort.
There she got a little close to the first jump and a little bit backwards, but she made it work. And then again, just a little bit too wide to the second jump. That worries me a little bit for time allowed. One place she can make it up is right here to the triple bar. This is where I recommend really people take a chance, go forward to the triple bar, and then reel it in again. Way over the triple bar. Horse gave a great effort there. Now she needs to look, get to jump number 7, which she did, but now she needs to stay tall with her upper body so her horse doesn't get too close.
And unfortunately not the case as that one's down, but at least this time, as you mentioned, she can try to avoid those time falls. Now she's got 2 down. Earlier she had 1 rail and the 2 ticks over the time.
And sometimes that's an experience thing of knowing when you're kinning through the turn with rhythm that you really need to get your horse's balance back just to help that jump rock back on the hind legs, give enough time to leave that front pole up. Really quite a nice horse, jumped some really great jumps.
And unfortunately on the clock there as well, a little trouble, half a second over. So she ends up with a time fault. And as well, she's got the 3 knockdowns for 12 on the course. 2 qualified to jump off as of now. Next one coming in should be Sophia Siegel and Barracuda, 10-year-old Zangerside gelding by Luido.
I'm really surprised we've only seen 2 clear so far. I really thought, I mean, my guess was going to be 10 to 12 in the beginning, but we may not get there. I do think Guillerme's built a great track today, really the right amount of challenging in the right places.
Got to say, though, as you look down through the remainder of the field here, there's still quite a few more who you would feel pretty confident can get it done. This is Sophia Siegel. She was a representative of the North American Young Rider Championships a couple years back in 2017. She's been another rider who's earned victories in the junior and amateur classics from Thermal to Temecula and Sonoma this year.
Yeah, and I think Guillerme set that line, that first line from 2 to 3 really uniquely in the fact that I think people walked it and they thought they were really going to have to ride up and forward in 4 strides to the 3rd jump. We've seen the 3rd jump come down a lot today, almost like jump number 7. And I think that because riders think that it's the beginning of the course, they really have to kind of override it to get up the first line. And that's really not the case. They're really having to give themselves a little bit more room in the line so they don't bust through the front pole. The horse jumped really nicely through the triple combination. And Guillerme is one of those amazing course. Obviously, he course designed the Olympic Games in Brazil, in his home country of Brazil. You know, he's going to learn from where all the riders made mistakes today in this round and use that information on Sunday to build his track for Sunday. So I think also the riders will learn a little bit of his technique as well and know how to factor that in for Sunday. I'm sure everybody will go home. All these young riders that are competing in this event today, they're going to go home, watch their videos over and over again, learn from their mistakes, and try to come back and improve on it for Sunday's $50,000 Grand Prix presented by Restylane.
Yeah, it's not a random job of just setting the course one day unrelated to the next. You basically try to create almost like a theme throughout the week, get a gauge on what the field is capable of, how you can potentially test each one of them equally. Some may have strengths here, weaknesses in others, and you try to distribute that so it is in fact an equal challenge for everybody as much as possible. And certainly one of the masters at doing that is Guillerme George. This is Alessandra Volpi with Absolute de Mio. It's Alessandra's second ride. It's a 10-year-old chestnut gelding. The gray here, that is. Excuse me.
This is definitely not chestnut.
Definitely not a chestnut. Never, ever.
But I want to make a quick note about how she rode the first line from 2 to 3. I thought she rode that extremely well because she landed off the Restylane vertical at number 2. She waited for the line to come to her, and then she pressed across the oxer at number 3, giving him plenty of room at the front pole. And her horse really responded nicely because of it. Here she chose for 6 strides, but again, she really took notes on her first ride because she arrived in 6, getting there, slowing down, so her rhythm wasn't so far forward coming into that short triple combination. And again, she's jumping a really great round because of that precision. And unfortunately there, got a little bit away from her trying to take her time. She just got a little bit too deep again to that second to last jump at the green is the new blue skinny, which is of course the most delicate jump on course because it has the shortest, the narrowest pole, so inherently it's lighter and easier to fall.
Alessandra has a couple in the class, resulting in a little bit of confusion there at the start of her round, but nonetheless, that one with a knockdown. She does have Taiwan Delandi in 3rd as the fastest four-faulter, and the time she just posted aboard Absolute Dumio, the gray gelding, ended up in 5th place. So she's still got a chance at some good ribbons here today with 3rd and 5th so far. Derek Chang, Mark Kinsella currently leading the way. Tied for first is Kerry Roofer, one of the riders I was referring to when I said we've certainly got a lot more that have a chance to get in. Back with her second ride in the class.
And we always look forward to coming to the Sonoma International here at the Sonoma Horse Park just because of this region. I mean, this is really such a destination for all of us to come once a year. I know a lot of these other riders can be here throughout the year, but for us it's such a treat because we have this incredible backdrop. I don't know if you guys can see at home on the live stream. We have the river right behind us sitting in the commentary booth. Perfect, beautiful blue skies, the mountains in the distance. Unbelievable restaurants in Petaluma, Sonoma, Napa, which are all within 30 minutes drive of the facility. So
Sausalito last night. I went to a great dinner down there right on the bay. Beautiful boats out in the bay to watch and great food as well. We've got some great trails and outdoors around here.
It's wine country, so lots of activities to partake in here in this location. And you know, the Sonoma Horse Park does such a fantastic job of keeping the facility up to date and ready. They have the footing. This year, I think, is better than it's ever been since I've been coming here. So, you know, really the whole environment of horse showing here is great for this week.
And somebody who's certainly going to think it's great, one of our past winners and always a big contender, as I promised at the start of the round there with Mr. Europe. She was one to watch, and glad we did because she got to the finish line penalty-free with that 11-year-old Royal Dutch Warmblood gelding by Mr. Blue. So we're glad to see now that she's going to be in the jump off because we always know she's exciting to watch when she gets there. And we also know that she's going to be competing against Mark Kinsella, who is her partner in business at this point. So we'll see what happens when it comes down to that 3-horse jump off that we're currently counting on.
And she really made that look easy. I mean, again, a couple of the riders that have jumped a clear round, and Mark and Derek and Kerry, they all attacked the course right from the start. They didn't let go on the rhythm. They didn't step off the gas pedal, and they really attacked it with rhythm, but also with balance. And all 3 of them really made the track look quite easy. So I think a lot of the riders coming up later in this course need to take notes on how that was ridden. All of them were well within the time allowed, and all of them really rode the track really precisely. So hopefully here Caitlin Campbell can add to that clear list.
She's on her 2nd horse now. The earlier one, as you said earlier, just had a problem coming into the combination. It could have been just any sort of distraction, and that refusal was really all that kept her out at that point, and that might have just been some sort of a fluke. Right now with Paulina de Lascal, the 11-year-old Hanoverian mount by Perigue, another of the horses that came to her through her connection with the Sweetenhams, Shane and Allie Sweetenham and Sweet Oak Farm from back east. And that's, of course, a connection established years back when she was showing in the East.
And here, this is really a smart choice. I thought you saw her really get the horse back and do 7 strides into the combination, and it really paid off. She got her horse's balance back to her, and sometimes you have to make those decisions in a split second just to get the result you want. And here she knows she needs to be a little quicker to the last for time allowed, and she made it look easy as well. Another clear round.
Yeah, and fear not, as we were getting into the later phases of the class and we were possibly concerned that we weren't going to necessarily hit that number we thought would make it through, we're starting to have them stack up now. Caitlin Campbell, the second of our ladies to get in after, again, we had those 2 early rides from both Derek Chang and Mark Kinsella. 4 entries so far qualified to come back in the jump off.
You know what's interesting is that it's not a coincidence that in Grand Prix, a lot of times we see in the very beginning of the order to go, you see a nice group of clear rounds, and then you see a lull, and then towards the end of the order to go also, which is all drawn by chance, that order of go, you see a lot of clear rounds towards the end. And the reason for that is in the very beginning, you have riders that really, they walk the course, they come up with their plan, and they're really forced to stick to it. And because of that, they end up riding, confidence in their plan before they even go into the ring. And then sometimes that next group of riders tend to sometimes
second
guess their choices and change the amount of strides that their instinct told them and for their horse when they walk the course. And then once they take a deep breath, get to the second half of the line, the order of go, a lot of those riders have kind of had a chance to watch the other riders go, or if they have a second horse in the class, they can kind of correct kind of what the course is dictating and what those mistakes and how those mistakes are coming. So a little bit now we're kind of seeing that second wave of clear rounds that really kind of gotten a feel for the track and know where to make the right decisions.
And this one, unfortunately, was looking good all the way up to that triple combination where Caitlin actually made the correction. They got in there and pulled down A and B, as well as the following Oxer, the blue wave fence on the far side there. And then they're going to bypass the green as the new blue vertical. Not sure if they're choosing to withdraw at this point or...
Well, I think the horse has just gotten a little bit strong after that triple combination. I don't know. Here he's just choosing to regroup and get his horse back a little bit, take a deep breath. And this is a scenario, this is a horsemanship scenario where he just needed to take his time, take a second to regroup, especially if he's, like we said earlier, if he's preparing for Sunday, he really wants to get those buttons in order.
Yeah, and at that point he didn't really have a chance of being in the ribbon, so he figured you got to make the best out of the situation. You got 12 faults at this point. Get the horse collected, start to give him a good experience toward the end of the course, so like you said, you can be prepared. Japan's Shota Ogamori's Sig Hawkeye finishing out with 16 on the course 21 on the clock. We've got Angel Caroli coming to us next. He'll be joining us aboard his entry. This is SNL Sage riding for Venezuela. First came to the U.S. back in 2008. He was a bright young star in the young rider ranks, then came in and instantly made his mark as a top international rider. Won a lot of Grand Prix back east. For the last couple of years, he's been based here in California.
Oh, and there he gets away with a rub on the first jump, and I'm sitting right in front of the jump, and it is just barely resting in the cups.
If we were able to get you a zoom shot on that, you'd be in disbelief at how close that thing came to dropping off the back of the Horseflight Oxer. See whether his luck holds out here.
Yeah, I don't know what the ruling is there. I don't know if the jump crew is allowed to make that adjustment on the pole or wait till after.
You got to wait until the end of the round. That thing falls before the time they get to that finish line, that it still would be a penalty.
I think it's just wedged in there enough it's going to stay up, but definitely a rare occasion.
Stiff breeze might be the difference in this one.
It can get windy here.
Rocking the top rails there. The luck does run out at C of the triple combination for Angel and SNL Sage. 4 so far. And that will be the result. But look on the bright side, it very easily could have been 8 faults.
C element of the triple combination, but unfortunately enough to make it come down. It will be 4 jumping faults, time of 78.19, and looks like that's going to go into 9th place.
Getting that back rail in the cups now. Again, lucky at the beginning of the course, little less luck in the triple combination with the rail coming down there for SNL Sage and Angel Caroli. So he scores a total of 4 faults in 78.195. He's still got a chance at a ribbon right now in 9th place. Haley Schwab coming up next. She'll ride 269, the entry number of 007. 007 is a 12-year-old gray Royal Dutch Warmblood gelding by Mr. Blue.
Formerly shown by Kevin Babington from Ireland.
Right, one of our favorite riders in the business. I have to say real quick here as an interjection, by the way, first of all, the Horseflight Oxer is down, unfortunately, so we've already got 4 here, but we've heard a lot of very encouraging news about Kevin in the last couple of months. Starting to regain some feeling in his toes, even be able to move his toes and his fingers. And those of you who aren't aware, Kevin, an Irish rider who's been in the U.S. here for decades. He's one of the most beloved characters in the sport. Unfortunately, an accident befell him just over a year ago at the Hampton Classic. He's been now paralyzed from that point forward, but there's a lot of encouraging news, not only in the fact that he's got some feeling and some movement, but also that they have just tried out for a trial therapy that may take him even further down the road. So we continue keeping him in our thoughts and prayers, obviously, as we hope he recovers.
Well, and Kevin's, I've known Kevin for many years now, and if there's anything we all know about Kevin is he's one of the biggest fighters out there. So I know if Kevin has anything to do with it, he's not going to stop until he gets the result he wants. So
yeah, and he basically didn't skip a beat from the time that happened, was right back into helping his daughters train and training from ringside over the last several months down in Wellington, and so it's good to see a lot of that encouraging news for Kevin. 2 rails come down there for Haley Schwab and 007. That will be a score of 8 faults. 8 faults in a time of 78.189. Kendall Bourgeois with Colin 4, 13-year-old Warmblood gelding by Sam R. So Colin 4, a winner of a couple of classics early season in Thermal. They took top honors in a $10,000 and a $15,000 open jumper classic there in the desert circuit. They also had welcome and Grand Prix placings a couple months back in Traverse City. She's one of the riders that made that journey back east to Michigan and then came back to the West Coast. Had a runner-up here in a $30,000 Grand Prix last month. By the way, this is one of 9 left to go in the first round. We've blazed our way through the competition here, going quicker than I expected, and at this point, 4 clear entries.
Here she's jumping a really efficient round. Her horse is really has a great expression, really clever. You can see he doesn't, exert a lot of energy over the jumps. He just does exactly what he needs to. Unfortunately, has B of the combination down there. I can't quite see A of the combination. I don't know what happened there. And there again, just gets slightly too deep at that skinny vertical across the center and has it down.
So all told, it's an 8-fault finish. She had time to spare there, 75.200 for Kendall and Colin 4.
Now, definitely next to go, probably one of the favorites. You know, anytime he enters the ring, Richard Spooner, the master of faster. So let's see what he can do.
You know, I got to tell you, I got to be honest, and I'm sure Richard's going to hear this later, but I saw him at the gate the other day, and I didn't recognize him with the beard and mustache. I thought, wait, who is that guy? He said hi to me. You know, it was nice to see him and everything, and I said hi back, but I only realized today it was Richard that I had seen, because I haven't seen him for a while.
And this is the first time Richard has ever attended a Split Rock Jumping Tour event, so again, we're really grateful for him coming the long way to compete in this event.
Oh, yeah. This is a guy who has had, I mean, so much success all over the map. He's been to the World Cup finals on countless occasions. He's basically just a dominating force in show jumping. Today here piloting Quirado RC.
Well, and this is one of those predictable situations to where if I were to guess, he will be well within the time allowed. Not by going fast, but by turning really neat, turning really tight, shaving his angles over the jumps and in the turns. And, you know, that's just a testament to experience as well. And there you saw him really take him off the front pole of jump number 7. And I thought he held just a little bit too long, and unfortunately he cut down on the back pole because of it. I don't think Richard ever expects this horse is a really big horse. He was telling me earlier on today that he thinks this horse is probably 18 hands tall. So very big horse, very scopy horse. I think there Richard probably rode that jump in a way where he didn't expect him to touch the back pole, because he's definitely a very big, scopy, rangy horse. So just a little bit of a unfortunate pole coming down there.
All right, so he'll finish up with 4:77.458, the time for Richard Spooner. He goes into 9th place with Corrado RC based on that penalty and the time. By the way, if you guys don't already know, you can get the updated standings and results on your mobile device, your phone, your iPad, and you can do that with the Split Rock Jumping Tour app. Of course, you can also log on to the website, splitrockjumpingtour.com. And whether you're in the app or the online location there, it's amazing how quickly these videos come up. If you want to watch an individual round, they are instantly available following that round. Quicker clipping of videos than I have ever really seen. So that's a testament to Equestrian Digital's capability as they get those up so quickly. Our next rider, the second of Kyle King's entries, will be Anzo, number 221 now.
Kyle always extremely competitive on this horse. I think, I don't know for sure, you probably can tell me a little bit better, but I think he's coming off of a win recently with this horse in a Grand Prix here in the Northwest. That would be your cue to check those results.
Hey, we've got
so
we've got those results for you here. I was actually trying to take a look back at my notes and apologies on that, as I was having a little issue with my computer there with Kyle and Anzo, but
I'm just giving you a hard time.
yeah, you're not just giving me a hard time, you're doing that in front of everybody else online. Thanks a lot. Let's say chances are, yeah.
Kyle jumping a nice round here, getting away with a slight rub at the back pole of the triple combination, of C of the triple combination. You can see him really taking his time here to the skinny vertical. Great so far. One jump to go.
We hope we see Kyle in. And with Anzo, faultless and qualified to advance.
I don't know. I could kind of tell by his reaction after the last jump. Obviously, he's enthusiastic. He's excited for jumping a clear round. But when you jump clear in the welcome, you know, it's always a great relief, because you kind of can anticipate you're doing better throughout the week, winning that extra prize money to start. And then the rest, of the results throughout the week is kind of gravy. So I definitely know that feeling, and it's definitely always great to jump clear in a Grand Prix. So Kyle is definitely going to be one of my favorites in the jump off to take the win.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of the edge off. It allows you to maybe concentrate a little more on the actual ride, knowing that you, for sure at this point, he's guaranteed some prize money because we've only got 5 left to go, and he's among the 5 that are qualified for that jump-off round. So best of luck to Kyle, and already he knows he's going to be walking out with a check today, as is Mark Kinsella. Mark Kinsella already a qualifier aboard the earlier entry Stern de Folletti, and now unfortunately, he does already have a rail at number 3 here aboard the Capital 6.
But again, that line is kind of set up for you to ride forward into the line. So a lot of these horses are misjudging that front pole of the third oxer because the riders are kind of closing their legs, supporting a little extra up in the 4 strides, and they're just getting there slightly too early, which means they're getting too close to the front pole and not having enough time to come away from that front pole and leave it up. He opts for the 6 strides coming to the triple combination. Gets it done nicely. Now he's settling into the round nicely.
Score there, 8 faults there for Mark. And Capital 6 with, again, 8 faults. So he's got 8 on that one, but no penalties on the early ride Stern de Folletti. Again, guaranteed a check today. What check it will be coming up and being determined in that jump-off round. Third ride now for Alessandra Volpi. This is Foster, 39, a 12-year-old bay Hanoverian gelding by 4 Edition. We are currently working on 5 clear. That's correct. Derek Chang, Mark Kinsella, Kerry Roofer, Kyle King, Caitlin Campbell. You are required to have a K in your name at this point to make it into the jump off. And unfortunately, Alessandra Volpi does not with Foster and has that rail down at the Restylane vertical. Alessandra does have a couple of nice rankings already, 6th and 8th so far with Taiwan and Absolute de Mio, so she's got a chance at some prize money.
Well, and all of her horses seem to have that energy and that enthusiasm and blood, so she's naturally going to all be well within the time allowed. So if she can perform with another 4 fault round, she's probably going to be in the mix again.
It looks like it's going to be a 2 knockdown penalty there for Foster and Alessandra Volpi. That's 8 faults, so that one's not going to be among the ribbon winners, but she does have the other 2, as I mentioned, 6th and 8th currently in the ranking. Caitlin Campbell is back again. And here she comes with her 3rd ride. This will be Dorendo. Dorendo is a 12-year-old Grey Dutch warm-blood gelding by Indorado. Caitlin already qualified with Polina de Liscal, so she could be the only one with multiples if she can make it through with this entry, though Kerry Roofer's also got another one coming up here to show, so there could be a couple of multiple qualifiers, but she could be the only one so far.
And this horse has a really interesting technique. He definitely holds his head a little bit higher, jumps a little bit with his front legs a little bit lower, but really has his own style. But I've watched this horse over the past year with Caitlin, and it really jumps a lot of clear rounds. So Definitely one of those competitive horses that could have a chance today. And when I say technique, I just mean style of jumping across the jump. Some horses really pick their legs up really close to their face and their nose, and other horses hold their head a little higher. So the rider has to account for that a little bit with their balance and body position.
Caitlin's already been successful with a Grand Prix win at the Blenheim Summer Classic earlier this year, back in August. Today, of course, this one's going to already have a couple of knockdowns as we come into the home stretch. Well, it won't be a multiple qualified day for Caitlin, but a chance to come back in the jump off nonetheless with the earlier entry. And that one is 8. Time of 77.889 for Durando and Caitlin Campbell. And the winner she had there at Blenheim was actually Polina de Lascal, which is her jump-off qualifier here today. So if that's any indication of what she's capable of, she could be one of our winners. But we got tough competition in that jump-off round. Derek Chang, of course, was the trailblazer. Mark Kinsella, Kerry Roofer, 2 riders coming to us out of Morningstar Sport Horses are also in. We've already seen Mark win this week twice. We've seen Kerry Roofer win Grand Prix level events here with us in Sonoma in the past years. Kyle King, of course, Caitlin Campbell, all highly competitive. So it's definitely going to be a big and fun to watch jump off. Next we go on to Susan Artez and California Sunshine. Susan riding the 7-year-old there by Captain Future. She was a winner in our open jumpers earlier this week. California Sunshine showing successfully with Susan in the young jumpers until they made their Grand Prix debut here in Sonoma late July. In fact, this horse was a second place finisher in the Youngster Bowl here last year. She's already had a couple of wins in Grand Prix level events, a $50,000 and $30,000 Grand Prix with another horse named Lawrence Z.
There she just got away with a slight rub at the front pole of the Element Oxer.
Sometimes it's a bit of a wake-up call.
And I just wanted to do a quick shout out to Dahlman Jump Co. for providing these incredibly beautiful jumps out here today. We use Dahlman Jump Co. at all of our events throughout the Split Rock Jumping Tour from year to year, so always coming with a fresh set of jumps and materials, and it's just great to have them in that partnership here providing these beautiful jumps.
Well, Susan with a late knockdown at the Blue Wave Oxer on the far side there. 4-fault finish in 77.991, unfortunately, today with California Sunshine. As I mentioned, a very young horse, 7 years of age, so that's a horse with a bright future. Did quite nicely, but for that one knockdown over there, and already had, as I mentioned, a couple of great ribbons in the young jumpers before debuting in the Grand Prix levels this year. Susan Artez has already promised us that she's going to be on the broadcast Sunday for our main event, the Grand Prix, so we're looking forward to having her and getting that insight as well. She's been with us years past, obviously, in that streaming coverage. But as she makes her exit from the ring, we're down to what should be just 2 left to go. I told you earlier that there was one more rider who could get a multiple qualified start here today, Kerry Roofer. Here she is with one of the past winners here, Georgie Dovray EC, 14-year-old Belgian gelding by Vancouver Dovray.
Well, I don't know. Susie's horse jumped really well, so she might decide to compete on Sunday in the Grand Prix, depending on how she's feeling, how she felt walking out of the ring. So
we'll see what happens. Her intention as of yesterday was to come on up here with us. She was just planning on showing in the welcome and not coming back, but maybe, yes, she's certainly got the option to change her mind. Nonetheless, we love having her here, whether it's as a competitor or a competitor and commentator.
And Kerry's horse is definitely, looks like he has a lot of energy today, a lot of spunk, but I think she's going to have to think about the time allowed a little bit, because in her efforts of trying to get him back after all these lines, she's going a little bit wide, so she's going to have to think about that.
think she'll be all right. A little time to spare, hopefully, as she comes down the final stretch here. Up and over, hopefully. Indeed, she's bound for the jump off with 2 entries. Nice job by Carrie Rufer. She always promises to be a contender. Today, the most consistent of our riders in the first round with 2 clears, Georgie Dovre and the earlier entry, Mr. Europe. So we're looking forward to seeing her return on both of those.
This is turning into a Morningstar Sport Horses event with the results they're getting this
Absolutely.
week.
They've already had 2 wins this week. Carrie Rufer, I believe, was also second in one of those classes, just behind her partner, Mark Kinsella. And now she's got 2, and Mark's got 1 in the jump off out of our total of 6 that are qualified. So, wow, they've got a great chance at another big win today. Well, it looks like the last one to go now will be Argentina's Guillermo Obligado. He's going to be the last one to compete here up on Galileo de Lobre, the 14-year-old Belgian, gelding by Cardento. Already railed down early on here at fence number 3 for Guillermo. And now on fence number 7, which has been a bit of a bogey so far here. Down at C of the triple, so we're working on 12.
This is also one of Guillermo's first times jumping at a Split Rock Jumping Tour event, so we're really pleased to have him.
And maybe you can build on experience today going into the Sunday class this weekend. But for today, I believe he's going to end up with a total of 20 faults aboard the Galileo de Lobre. And that's going to bring the first round to a close. Actually, 20 plus the time. 24 plus the time, that is. And we are going to wrap up round 1. Looking at the first round results, Derek Chang again was the trailblazing entry with Chappie. He went penalty free in 74 and change. Mark Kinsella followed with Stern de Folletti, and that gave us need for the jump off round. Then we also had Carrie Rufer and Caitlin Campbell make it through. Later on, Kyle King with Anzo. And, of course, the second Carrie Rufer ride more recently there, Mr. Europe. Or actually, excuse me, Georgie Dovre will also be a contender. So those are your 6 entries that are coming back for the tiebreaker. Just about half of what we sort of expected at the start of the class here today, Derek, when we were sort of prognosticating that 12 would make it into the jump-off round. But I love a 6-horse jump-off. That's a nice number to challenge for the prize money here today. And all told, we've got $25,000 going out. Compliments of Hyaluronics. Joint supplement. We're glad to have Hyaluronics. They've been year after year great and supportive of the Split Rock Jumping Tour, and so we want to thank them. Send a shout out to Hyaluronics. We've got some of their products on board here with us at the show this week. Thanks to Hyaluronics for their sponsorship.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? I thought Guillermo did a really fantastic job today building this course. Although he only had 6 clear, which is still a great jump off, I think that it's a testament to his skill. He had 10 four-falters, so and no major mistakes anywhere, no major difficulties. Everybody made it around safely, so I think he really did a perfect job today. It'll definitely give him some more information for Sunday of how to build Sunday's track, and he'll really use that information for Sunday. So again, a great job by Guillermo. We'll see how he sets this jump-off round, and hopefully we see a really fast round. We have some really quick riders in the jump-off. You have Mark Kinsella from Ireland, Carrie Rufer on 2 horses. We know she can be blazing fast. Caitlin Campbell is always a competitor, and Kyle King, of course. So this is going to be a really great jump-off to watch.
Yeah, I'd say a very dynamic group of riders coming in here. They've all been big Grand Prix winners recently, as you mentioned. Carrie has the best chance based on numbers, of course, because she's got the 2 qualifiers. And she has been a regular winner here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour in our Grand Prix level events over the last couple of years. But Mark's been showing her up a little bit this week already, so we'll see what happens.
What do you think? Who's your money on?
Well, that's tough to say. You know what? For some reason, my gut tells me Carrie.
I was going to go with the odds as well. I mean, she's the only one with 2 in the jump off. I think that's a good bet, but obviously you can't count any one of the other ones out. I think Kyle or Caitlin, absolutely, and obviously Mark, all of them. Every single one of them has a chance. But
Derek, of course, was the one that showed us how to get it done in the first round. So as a trailblazer, he gets his credit for having done that.
And that horse looks really quick across the ground as well. So that horse may be really deceivingly fast with Derek.
All right, well, we'll see what happens here. We'll give you guys a little bit of time to sort of maybe go grab a beverage out of the fridge or stretch your legs a bit, and then we'll be back in the jump-off round here. 6 contenders vying for the winner's share of a $25,000 prize in our Hyaluronics National Prix.
What's up? Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for the jump off. Yeah, I'm good up here, just waiting for that jump off thing. I keep getting attacked by hornets, but that's all fine. I think they just like my blue hair. I tried it a little bit, and honestly, it covers the camera up. It covers up my shot when they go to the right side. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. It's only a little bit longer anyway, so whatever. Alright, I'll do that. Yeah, but I think, like I said, I think it covers my shot over here. Let me try to extend it out better. This works, I think. Yeah, that's good. No, that's good. I just did it. Yeah, I'm fine now. Hell yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, brother. Thanks.
Well, again, Guillermo has done a terrific job this week with the courses here in the Grand Prix Arena. He's got these Grand Prix horses jumping very well indeed. And he has designed a very, very nice jump-off track for us. Let's take just a moment to describe what Guillermo has in store for our jump-off. It's going to begin over the related distance. The line set up a diagonal fence number 3, the croquet mallets to fence number 4, the Restylane vertical. It'll be a right-hand gallop over to fence number 5, which was a triple bar the first round, but now it's an oxer. They'll continue on the right lead to fence number 6A, the A element of the 6AB combination in round 1. Then it's going to be a left-hand rollback to the oxer that is colored red, yellow, dark blue, orange, green, and light blue. You know the one I'm talking about. Onto the 9BC, which is part of the triple combination in round 1. And then finally a right-hand lead and a big gallop to fence number 10, the blue and white Liverpool oxer right in front of the VIP.
All right, so back on board with you here as we're about to resume with the jump-off round from the Hyaluronics National Prix. And let's take a look quickly at the jump-off course as myself, Brian Lookable, and Derek Braun are back with you. And that jump-off course today is going to start over what was a problem fence in the initial round, but this time there's not going to be a related distance to that fence, so probably not an issue, though after that they do have the line. Fence 3 is what I'm talking about. That's the Polo Mallet Oxer directly ahead to fence number 4. And then fence number 14, it's now an Oxer, what was a triple bar over there that we talked about in the first round. From there, 6A comes across the wrought iron, brown, tan, and orange Oxer toward our booth or our location. After 6A, number 8 goes away from home. That's the multicolored pillars with the solid green rails. 9B and 9C means that you've got a whole different distance from 8 to that combination. It was a triple. Now it's just what remains, 9B and 9C. And then they'll circle back around to number 10. That's the Blue Wave Oxer on the far side there with the pinstripe or mafia rails, whichever you'd like to call them. And that's where they're actually going to finish up this time. So they're not going to have to be concerned with that turn between 10, 11, and 12 this time around. But there's a whole different set of criteria. Up and over, the first jump already is that first qualifier once again. And we start things off here with Derek Chang and Chappie.
There you see Derek really turned quite tight to the first jump, which I was a bit surprised about because he really got a good gallop going. I think we might see a couple people try 6 strides in the first line because you can really go a little further in the turn and line it up and get a good run at it. So I think he's definitely quick. He's laying down a really nice round, but I think he left the door open with the first line.
Yeah, and why would you make a turn to that? You got a line, you got a related distance between 3 and 4, so I can't imagine, that was his option there, but interesting, as you mentioned. 39.755, Derek Chang's time with Chappie. He goes penalty free, celebrating the clear to start things off here. He may have left the door open, as you said, possibly based on time, but we'll have to see how others approach things.
Yeah, but a really good round, and it really set the tone for the rest of the riders, so he's going to put the pressure on them for sure to at least have to think that they have to go fast and clear at the same time, which always can, in turn, cause some faults down the line. So we'll see what the rest of these riders can do.
Remember, we've got Carrie Roofer with 2 entries, so she's, as we mentioned earlier, the odds-on bet. But that doesn't really mean a whole lot in the long run. It's anybody's opportunity. Carrie also along with Mark Kinsella for Ireland. He's the only rider from outside of the U.S. Who's in our jump-off today. Kyle King, Caitlin Campbell, also a part of the fray.
And it's quite hot out right now, so a couple of these riders that have had multiple rides, they might be having to take a little bit of extra time outside the ring to prepare, get hydrated, get the horses re-warmed up for this second round, and come back in. So I think that's probably what we're looking at a case of right now in the lull of nobody in the ring next. Here you can see Mark walking up to the in-gate right now, so took a little extra time to get organized and get in there, but again, I think there really aren't many options here. You can really take a chance down the first line in 6 strides if you're looking to make up some time there, because you then have a really long run to number 14, which once was the triple bar, is now an Oxer. And then also, I think you really can take a chance at the last jump. The last jump is a very delicate jump. It's got the Liverpool, like you said, those mafia pinstripe poles. The front pole can sometimes that water tray can really lull the horse into looking down at that and not paying attention to the front pole. So even though riders going to really want to take a run at it, they're going to have to be careful. So a couple places where they can really make up time. But I think Derek really rode a great round everywhere, minus leaving the door open down the first line. So let's see what Mark chooses to get this round started. So if he does 7 down the first line just like Derek did, he's going to really have to make up the time elsewhere. So we'll see where he'll give that a try.
Much wider berth to the first jump to begin with.
There, and he walks 6 strides down the first line. So I think that's an obvious option for all these rest of these riders. they're steadying in 8 strides to the brown oxer, which actually I think if he were to, we'll see what the result is, but if he were to come away from this again, he might think, wow, I saw 7 there.
Oh, and a problem on the second jump of that combination. It's the last fence of what was the triple C is down. So he's out of the running for the win there, but gets a 38.201 time with the 4 faults. And so he was quite speedy in comparison to Derek Chang and Chappie, but he does have the rail.
So there you see the difference in time. He did take that option, do 6 down the first line, and in turn definitely was faster. But I think he paid for it coming into that combination. He left a stride out to the combination. It set very short. The horse was jumping a little bit forward in rhythm because of the pace he had throughout that whole jump-off round, and it ended up barely costing him at B of that combination, second to last jump in that jump-off round. So let's see if Carey, this is definitely a big, scopy, rangy horse as well. Really big stride. I think no matter what, she's going to choose 6 strides down the first line if I were to be a guessing man.
Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little more distance there from 4 to get up and over with Mr. Europe.
Yeah, and that 6 strides just really starts off the whole jump off with that right rhythm. So there she meets that 8 strides with a little bit more forward pace so she can keep continuing through the turn. Great turn here. Really helps the balance in the combination. I'd say she's really quick.
She's well on pace here to take over. And it stays up. Wow. We thought 38 and change was quick. 37.166 will be Mr. Europe and Carey Roofer's time. So a clear-cut leader by 2.6
And I just want to make a note. She made a great enthusiastic fist pump after that clear round, too. So hopefully Horseflight is watching and can see that. I don't think it was enough to take over the lead in the Horseflight Fist Pump Award, which is currently held by the next rider in the ring, Caitlin Campbell. So she gave a really enthusiastic fist pump yesterday in her victory gallop after a win. She gave the old
double fist pump,
drop the reins, which I don't necessarily recommend because it's not the safest way to go, but in the end, it definitely was enthusiastic enough to take the lead.
You know, it's almost like in gymnastics. You don't want to overface yourself with the challenge, but if you're really up to the challenge, go ahead and take it. And Caitlin's one of those people that can handle that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, that could be we have an award for the Horseflight Best Fist Pump of the Horse Show. I mean, that's $500 cash. So, I mean, if you jump clear, or even if you're just feeling enthusiastic, I mean, it's really worth to take the chance.
Absolutely. Yeah, but what I'm getting at, I guess, is if you can't do the double fist pump, do it safe and just do something different that might be equally as enthusiastic.
And there she did again also a short turn to the first jump and opted for 7 strides. So I'm curious to see what her strategy is here throughout this round. I think she just didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too early. This horse looks like it travels across the ground quickly, so I think she's banking on her horse just being naturally fast enough. She's really going to have to go, though, to the last jump and take a chance if she wants to beat Carey. I think she's already at Carey's time.
Yeah, I don't think she doesn't have the chance to do it on the clock there, but 39.593 would be a faultless time for Paulina de Lescau. No faults, and it looks like she will post second.
And there you see her, honestly, she was shaking her head a little bit after the last jump. Even though she jumped a nice clear round, she got a little deep to the last jump. Her horse made a great, big, huge effort over the last jump, jumped her a little unseated over the last jump, and I think she knew she kind of didn't do all she could to get the win. But you could see how fast Carey was actually and efficient. She was a full 2 seconds faster than Caitlin.
Regardless, she's going to get a nice check for sure. Whether it's second or lower, we'll find out with 2 entries remaining. And, of course, she's also got a big prize money offering coming up here on Sunday. So maybe she can build on that for another good ribbon. Kyle King is in now with Anzo. He's trying to beat 37.166. The first of 2 remaining.
And there, Kyle, I'm surprised, opted for 7 strides. I think he planned 6 and then didn't just see it. But this horse has such a big, rangy stride that is a little bit slower moving across the ground. So I think he's really going to have to pick up the pace if he wants to get the W. Really good back on the turn to the colorful oxer. He's really taking a risk here in the combination. He's going to have to go. I think he's just going to be outside of Kerry's time.
Yeah, looks like he's gunning for, looks like second place, 39.414, Kyle's time. And indeed, he will end up right now in the second spot. So Kerry Ruther leading the way. She's got 37.166 with Mr. Europe, and she is guaranteed to win. We told you at the beginning the odds on bet was with Kerry, but it didn't come down to the fact that she had 2 horses. It came down to the fact that she just really blew him away there with her early entry, Mr. Europe. Now we'll have to see what she decides to do here. Obviously, she wants a couple of big checks. There is quite a bit of space between Mr. Europe and Anzo, Kerry, and Kyle's entries there. 2.3 seconds, in fact, the difference between first and second place.
And she's the only one left, correct?
Absolutely.
So she's guaranteed the win. I think she's absolutely going to go on her next horse, but it might take her a few minutes to get ready, obviously, because we just saw her on Mr. Europe. So she's going to take a few minutes to get her next horse, Georgie, ready for this jump off. I personally think she's going to go for it. She's probably going to do her best effort to do a 1-2 finish here.
Be a nice way for her to show up barnmate Mark Kinsella, who got a couple wins out from under her earlier this week.
Well, she's already done that.
Right? She's already got that win, but she could even supplant him one more position with another top placing there aboard Georgie Dovre, so she could get that 1-2 finish.
And that could be a nice internal barnmate jab.
We'd love that
competitive jab.
That little rivalry that would be going on there for the remainder of the week. Let's talk about quickly what we've got coming up this weekend. As we mentioned, that we're about to complete Friday, which is just amazing that we're already in the third day of competition, about to finish up. Saturday and Sunday, what's in store, Derek?
Well, again, we're really lucky that the weather cleared, the smoke cleared, the air quality has turned fantastic here in Northern California, here at the Sonoma Horse Park. So, again, really blessed to have blue skies. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer in temperature tomorrow and Sunday. So we're hoping for some great competition. Tomorrow afternoon, tune in to the live stream for our $20,000 Restylane meter 35 National Prix. Really a great class. I think we have set on the docket for tomorrow over 30 entries in that class tomorrow afternoon as our feature class for Saturday. And then Sunday again with our main sponsor, Restylane, as our sponsor of our $50,000 National Standard Grand Prix on Sunday, which actually will not be held in the afternoon. We're anticipating really high temperatures of over potentially 100 degrees. So we're going to host that Grand Prix most likely starting around 9:30 a.m. for the $50,000 Restylane Grand Prix. So please tune into the live stream. That's 9:30 Pacific Standard Time and 12:30 Eastern Standard Time for the $50,000 Restylane Grand Prix. So we still have a lot of show jumping left this weekend. Again, I'm really thankful for everybody that entrusted in us to continue on with this horse show, even given the conditions throughout the week. And again, we're really lucky that the weather lifted, the smoke and the air quality, and we're able to perform with no risk to the riders and horses this weekend.
And a kudos to you and everybody that came out here for the setup. It was sort of touch and go on what was actually going to happen. I know you guys came out over a week ago to get things ready for what was going to be the bonus week here in Sonoma, and I know it was sort of a tough call to make, but you had to decide not to do week one. But then persevered and went ahead and ran week 2 here, which was the original Sonoma stop on the Split Rock Tour. So kudos to you. I know that was a lot of hard work, a lot of tough decisions, as with many decisions throughout the course of this 2020 year, which is one of the strangest any of us have probably ever seen. But here we are at the end of the class with one more Kerry Rufo ride coming up. She's going to wrap things now with Georgie Dovre EC, one of our past Grand Prix winners here in Sonoma, and a chance for Kerry to go 1-2 in the results for our Hyaluronics Prix. Thanks again to Hyaluronics, safe and effective oral liquid hyaluronin supplement for the support of joint health and mobility in horses. And again, they've been for many years a supporter of our Split Rock Jumping Tour.
Yeah, Hyaluronics definitely usually sponsors the FEI jog throughout, obviously because they're encouraging soundness and you know, joint fluidity. So thank you again to Hyaluronics and Alamend and Vitalize, the whole encompassing company, for being such a great supporter of our Split Rock Jumping Tour year in and year out. We really couldn't do it without them.
37.166 was Carrie's time aboard Mr. Europe. If she wants to get the 1-2 finish, she's actually got a little bit of leeway there between her and Kyle King, who had a 39.414 time, so 1.3 seconds between, but the most surefire way to get the 1-2 finish is to go even faster on
and
this.
I think it's clear that Carrie is just going for a nice, smooth, clear round. She's absolutely not going to challenge herself for first place just by the way she's ridden the first 4 jumps of the course. She's just going nice and smooth and wide and slow. Her horse is jumping really well. He was a little bit fresh, it looked like, in the first round, so she may be just trying to give him a nice, confident, smooth jump-off round, and he's jumping great, so he'll definitely be ready for Sunday, and she's going to get 2 great results today, first and fourth.
Yeah, it's a steady pace there in 45.361. That'll actually be 5th in the ranking.
Okay.
5th place in 45.361. So 4 clears, 1 4 falter in a 5 clears and 1 4 falter in a 6-horse jump off here today. Good competition all in all. We were hoping, or we were thinking we might get more than that for the jump off, but 6 is a great number, and a nice timely finish here for Carrie and Mr. Europe in 37.166. We have had, again, a great day of competition. The Hyaluronics National Prix coming to a close. Derek's going to make his way down to take care of the presentation to our top 8. Our custom at Split Rock is to present all of the top 8 mounted for those awards, and we're going to revert back to the top 3 taking podium positions, socially distanced appropriately, of course, once we get into that. And as always, we'll be playing the anthem of our winning rider as well. So that's all coming up here as we finish our Friday competition in Sonoma at the Split Rock Jumping Tour. Stay with us for the awards, and please make sure you tune in for the upcoming Saturday and Sunday editions of Sonoma here with feature events on both days going into the weekend.
Allison, don't hate me! We have 5 horses and 3 groups.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a class. Our $25,000 Hyaluronics National Prix. And at this time, we are pleased to present our top finishers. And of course, joining us for our presentation this afternoon, the founder of Split Rock Jumping Tour, Derek Braun. Derek, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and congratulate our 8th place finisher. That was Kyle King aboard Magic Mike. We'll be talking to Kyle in just a bit because he'll also take reserve championship honors. Derek, let's congratulate our 7th place finisher, Taiwan Delandi and Alessandra Volpe. We're going to take just a moment to get that terrific win photo with Carrie Roofer aboard her terrific 11-year-old gelding, Mr. Europe. What a nice win for Carrie Roofer today. Let's go ahead and congratulate our other top finishers. As we mentioned, Kyle King and Magic Mike taking 8th place honors. 7th place honors went to Alessandra Volpe and Taiwan Delandi. We'll give our 6th place ribbon to Stern De Folletti and Mark Kinsella. Not only is Carrie going to take the championship honor, she'll finish 5th aboard Georgie DeVray. Derek Chang and Chappie taking 4th place honors. 3rd place belongs to Polina De La Scaw and Caitlin Campbell. Reserve championship honors to Enzo and Kyle King. And as we mentioned, championship honors to Mr. Europe and Carrie Roofer. Our top 3 finishers ascending the podium. And again, Caitlin Campbell aboard Polina, Kyle King aboard Enzo, and Carrie Roofer aboard Mr. Europe. Our top 3 riders getting their photos taken with the terrific gift certificates that our top 3 competitors will be receiving here in our Hyaluronics National Prix. Carrie, we want to congratulate you on a brilliant afternoon. You rode very well indeed, and in honor of your great victory, we're pleased to play your national anthem, the anthem of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Gentlemen, remove cover. Gary, that was for you. Congratulations on a great win this afternoon. While our riders work their way back over to mount up for our victory gallop one last time, we want to give some love to Hyaluronic, a premium equine joint supplement that relieves stiffness, enhances flexibility, and promotes healthy cartilage and joint function. Well, Kerry, once again, you and Mr. Europe, absolutely brilliant this afternoon. And as our champion, the honor is yours, if you would, please. Kerry Roofer and Mr. Europe lead the way in our victory gallop. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our top finishers, Kerry Roofer and Mr. Europe, Kyle King and Enzo, Caitlin Campbell aboard Polina, Derek Chang aboard Chappie, Kerry Roofer aboard Georgie, Mark Kinsella aboard Stern, Dave Folletti, Alessandro Volpi aboard Taiwan Delaney, and Kyle King aboard Magic Mike. Hey, we want to thank all of our riders for another terrific day of competition here in the Grand Prix Arena. A lot of fun today. On behalf of everybody here at the Split Rock Jumping Tour, we'll bid everybody a good evening. Check that app for tomorrow's start time. Oh, my apologies. Absolutely. We are going to interview the winner. I got a little ahead of myself there. My apologies. So, yeah, we're going to have a quick word with Kerry Roofer here in just a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's our champion, Kerry Roofer. And Brian, you got a great job this afternoon. You get to talk to our winner again, Kerry, representing Sacramento, the 916 area code. Kerry, congratulations. Brian, take it away.
All right, Kerry Roofer, sort of been knocking on the door here this week, but Mark Kinsella, your partner in business, has been sort of outdoing you so far twice, but you showed him up today, didn't you?
I did. Well, technically, I wasn't competing against him earlier today, so I didn't lose to him, and he was on my horse, so.
Right. So a win within the barn is a win for everybody, of course, but you've sort of been saving up, it seems, because now here we are in the feature event, and you had a chance with two. You were the most consistent, ended up being the odds-on favorite based on the two qualified rides there. But you ended up with the win. Took it a little easy on your second horse there, I guess. You just wanted to make sure you got a clear round and a good experience, I suppose.
Yeah, you know, everyone was pretty fast anyway, and I knew my second horse wasn't going to be as fast as my first anyway, and just saving him a little more for Sunday. You know, he's 14, so I thought it was just nice for him to have just a nice double clear day, and we'll set him up great for Sunday.
All right, we got a nice check in your pocket here today. You didn't necessarily get in the lead for the $500 bonus. I know I make a big deal out of that because I think it's a lot of fun, but since you got two horses ready for a Sunday Grand Prix, maybe you have a chance to do it again.
Let's hope so. I'll have 3 on Sunday, so fingers crossed.
Winner several years here at Sonoma, and just our Split Rock Jumping Tour shows. That's not to mention many of your other victories. So obviously you're very consistent. Congratulations on that. We look forward to having you back here over the course of the weekend. Thanks for year after year coming back and not only supporting us as a competitor, but also with your sponsorship of Split Rock. We appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Happy to sponsor a show like this. It's great. Great course designing, great management, great footing. Weather's been perfect, so all good.
All right, we appreciate it, and we'll wrap things up. Carrie, congratulations. Good luck going into the weekend. I'll send it back to Adrian for one final parting word here as we wrap up Friday.
Hey, Brian, thank you very much. And Carrie, one more time, congratulations, girl, and best of luck this weekend. Carrie said she's going to be showing 3 in Sunday's Grand Prix. We'll be looking forward to that. All right, guys, that's a wrap here in the Grand Prix Arena. Again, on behalf of everybody here at Split Rock Jumping Tour, we can't thank you enough for the great competition we've had. A little bit of a break in the Grand Prix Arena. We'll fire things up bright and early tomorrow morning. And until then, again, on behalf of everybody here at Split Rock, we'll bid everybody a good evening and a namaste. We'll see you tomorrow.